Official good morning, everybody. It's 7:40. Someone has had a very strange morning today. Normally, he wakes up at 6. Is it 6? I don't know. Normally, he wakes up when the sun rises because the sun is what bothers him and wakes him up. Today, he woke up at like 5 or whatever time he normally wakes up. He woke up an hour before. An hour before. And was just crying in his sleep. I don't know if the rain woke him up or what, but I brought him into bed and he was so exhausted that he didn't even let me change his diaper, which luckily for me, yeah, it was still good. So he just laid down in bed with me and ate and fell instantly asleep. So fast forward till 6 o'clock. Is it 6 or is it 7 right now? No. Wait, he woke up at 7 in the morning and is just bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I went to the bathroom. He played on the bed for a little bit while I was in the bathroom. I got dressed into some PJs and here we are now. I changed his diaper and Daddy is still asleep upstairs. So me and him are just going to hang out down here, have a nice breakfast. Eating papaya this morning and watching the news. Yeah, you watching the news? He seems to like it a lot. I'm trying to eat my papaya and I got some tichina popping off. So it should be good. I don't want him to be naked today because normally you guys know I get him undressed, but it's kind of chilly down here. Someone, even though you guys didn't get to see it, had their first taste of tofu. Tofu baby. Cheeky baby tofu. I made a very impromptu soup because I am cold, you guys. It is pretty cold, huh? Let's get into the video together. You tell them it's pretty cold. He just poked me in the eye. He's hungry. He's tired. He hasn't really slept today. Since he's been... Oh my god, my nose! Wah! Wah! Since he's been awake, he's only slept for like maybe a 15-minute nap right before Daddy left for work. Wah! 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 Can you go mama? Mama. 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 So we're gonna take a nap. I need to go bathroom real quick, take a nap, and then after that we are gonna get to filming some really cool videos, won't we, Nasty? We're gonna film some really cool videos. Got a few things. I want to do a few giveaways. So that should be fun. Also, I gotta talk to you guys on a serious note. We're gonna call it Salty Seconds with Ali Chan. Raymond's home for lunchy lunch.
Do I happen to get any like spoon? Or?
No, you just eating it with your fingers. Yeah, I'm gonna give you a spoon right now. Here we see Raymond trying out the makeshift Ali Chan soup, which you guys have not got to see because I was editing vlogs while making it. But this is the soup I was telling you guys about earlier. Is it good? Ooh, this is a soup that had the tofu that baby got to try. You want a piece of tofu? Mommy will warm up hers and I'll give you a piece of tofu, okay? Is getting a bath in the sink because they got super dirty while eating papayas. And I am kicking up a big old vat of soup. I'm eating the rest of my papaya and I'm also watching Child's Play 2, which is my favorite Child's Play movie. Alright guys, I just got done filming a giveaway. If you guys are, any of you guys are out there vegan and are pregnant or going to be trying to be pregnant and are into maybe winning some fabulous prizes, tune on in to my fears and worries of vegan TTC, pregnancy, and motherhood. You guys could possibly win some breast pads and the Everything Vegan Pregnancy book. And while I was filming, of course, because when it rains it pours, it literally started raining. Oh, look at all that rain. I've been on that domestic tip. Look at, I made soup. And I also made some Bragg's basted what is this called? Nutritional yeast crusted tofu oven baked. So I'm super excited. Looks so good. I can't wait. It's kind of very similar to the soup I made earlier this morning, but with much more broth because these noodles tend to suck it all up. So, and it's not raining anymore, but Raymond said that on his way in, it was super flooded. Like, all right, it is 11:06, even though we've been telling ourselves that we're going to start going to bed early. So my saltiness for these past few days has come in the shape of my parents telling me that the little flowered outfit that Vladimir was wearing on the night when we went to go to the Cosmopolitan and eat dinner was too girly. And it opened up an entire big can of worms. And the way I'm trying to raise my son, and not just my son, but my children just in general, whether they be male or female, but mostly making an emphasis on my son and future sons, is that colors do not have a gender, and nor do things like flowers. And though that outfit is what one would say is a girl's outfit because it was in the girls section, I feel like it was totally acceptable for him to wear. Granted, I would never unwillingly put him in a dress and with bows and things like that. I didn't see the issue behind it. And my dad had this huge talking with me, and he had said a few things, something that kind of irritated me, annoyed me, because he was speaking from a place that himself has never experienced. And he was telling me that sometimes people are born gay. And when I use the term gay here, it's encompassing gay, lesbian, trans, anybody under that spectrum. So he told me that sometimes people are born gay, and in other cases they're made gay. So pretty much to respect the fact that my son is a boy and a male, and to try to strive to show him what a man's role is in this life, in this world. And it irritated me immensely because, one, me being bisexual, I have been like this for most of my life, most of what I can remember. Fully conscious of my sexuality when I was in middle school, about like 6th or 7th grade. But prior to that, always knowing there was something a little bit off about me, but that could be due to a lot of things. I'm just an oddball. But I don't think that there is anything that my parents could have done differently to have made me quote unquote straight. They bought me a butt ton of Barbies. I don't think if maybe they put me in one more dress, I would not be bi. It's ridiculous. And for people to still think that nowadays, that someone could be brought up gay or brought up this, brought up that, it's ridiculous. And I had told him that. I'm like, Dad, he's like, well, that's what I've read and that's what I've heard, to my understanding, is what he said. I'm like, well, Dad, I'm like, take it from somebody who is, bi, and who, I'm like, who did grow up like that and has experienced that and does know people personally who are gay or lesbians or trans or what have you. I'm like, this is not something, for the most part, we would have chosen. And I had even went so far as to tell him back in the beginning, when I had first started realizing who and what I was, I had told myself that if there was anything I could ever do to get rid of it, I would have. Because at this moment in time, I was very heavily involved with my church. I was raised a Southern Christian Baptist, and they don't like gay people. And it was a lot of, not necessarily hardships, I guess in the scheme of things they are, but I don't see them that way, probably because it's so far in the past that it doesn't seem like it was that bad. But I'm sure if I sat down and really thought about it, I would realize that it was. But I would tell myself that if there was any way for me to change that, I would, and there was no possible way that if I ever had children, I would ever want them to be gay or bi or lesbian or anything, because this was not a life I liked living. And even though me being that young hasn't been that long ago, things have been very different. Times have been changing, and they're for the better in some aspects, and it is what I feel like to be like night and day from when I first came out to now. And obviously, being grown and having supportive people around me and just going through my experiences in life, I totally and 100% take that back. If I were to ever give birth to a child who happened to have a sexual orientation that one would consider abnormal or not the norm, I would be 100% okay with that. You know, I would be more than supportive, more than this, more than that. So I told him that. And according to him, you know, it was just his opinion and just his thoughts. But I should respect the fact that my son is a boy, and if one day he does grow up to liking flowers, and that's fine, and the other, you know, or if he likes rainbows, that's okay, but until then, I should respect the fact that he's a boy. And it's ridiculous because I actually know people personally who have brought up their children in a non-gender role, anything. They'll pick very gender neutral names. They will not put them in any clothing that could be associated with either gender, either male or female. So no trucks, because most people associate cars with boys, and no flowers because most people associate girls with flowers, and you know, and that's tough. So for my father to say, tell me to do something like that, but tell me that like trucks and dinosaurs and all of that boy things are okay, was a little bit ridiculous. And he said at the end of the day that it was just his opinion and just his thoughts. And though I not welcomed his opinions and thoughts, it's just irritating to me. He also had said that obviously that I was going to raise my son in a different world, because in his mind and the world he was brought up in, that's not okay. And it wouldn't be okay. He also told me to raise my son in a conventional manner, you know. So when he finally went to school, the other children wouldn't pick on him. I'm like, I could raise him like your average American boy, and children are kind of ruthless. General people are kind of ruthless. If there is something, if he's going to be odd, whether it be because he's tall or because he's smart or because he's gay or because he's a mixed baby, you know, whatever, they're going to pick on him regardless of anything. It's like almost that excuse when people tell you like, oh, you should name your child something normal because, you know, you don't want him to be picked on by with his name. I'm like, dude, if my kid's a weirdo and his name is Mark, they're still gonna pick on him whether his name is Mark or like Megatron, you know. Like if he's a weirdo or if there's something that he's gonna be picked on for, they're gonna find something, you know what I mean, like. And it's just irritating. It's just a little bit annoying, and I just got to remember where I stand. But it had bothered me quite a bit, and my only big thing is that I'm sure I have to open up eventually, but Raymond doesn't really necessarily like a few members of my family. I'll just leave it at that. And he tends to take things a little bit too serious. Not seriously, because I understand this is his son, but I sometimes can't speak to him about certain things because I know that even though I would like him to put it apart from what I'm going to tell you, I'm telling you in confidence, and I don't want you to let whatever I tell you affect your views and opinions and how, not even that, necessarily how you are treating these people. I know he'll do it, and I know it's tough because there's lots of things that Raymond doesn't back it down on, and I'm 100% sure that would be one of them. And it just leaves me at a standstill because I'm not really necessarily talking to any of my friends right now, either because I'm super busy with Vladimir and they're super busy with like their life, or because they don't necessarily like children, and I don't want to be that person who's like annoying them. And I know at the end of the day, even if I brought it up to one of my closest friends who hates children, who wants nothing to do with children, I know if I were to talk to them, they are such good friends that they would listen to me. But I just don't want to bring that upon them. And I don't also necessarily want to bring and show my family in a negative light because I just don't want to. I don't want people to think badly of them. And I know where they're getting at, and I know where they're coming from, but it's just a little bit irritating. And I mean, this is the type of crap I used to go through all the time when I had first come out, and when I was still going out with Raymond, and up until like my first wedding, I was having, honestly, shit talked to me about like all the time, like, oh, well, why don't you do this? And what about your kids? And, oh, if you just find yourself a nice boy to, you know, go out with and take you out on Sunday outings is one thing. And it's just irritating, and it's just annoying. And like my dad said, at the end of the day, he said that it was just his opinion, and I understand that. And I'm over here talking badly about Raymond, talking about how he wouldn't be able to differentiate the two. And now that I've noticed, and the longer I talk to you guys, is that I've realized that I'm doing what I expected him to do. I am letting my emotions cloud what was said to me in passing, and I think a part of it hurts because it's my parents, and it makes me a little bit annoyed. But at the end of the day, I'm like, it's just one person's opinion, regardless of whether or not it's my family members. That's okay. It's whatever, you know. He's my son, and I 100% truly believe in my heart what I am doing is right, and that's all that can be done, you know. And that's all. And I shouldn't have let it fester and stew upon me for the past 2 days. And another thing that kind of annoyed me, one last thing my father had told me, because I told him that I was going to raise my son with the ability and the knowledge to do things and know things that one would consider more of a feminine trait, like cleaning and cooking, because my son will not depend on anybody for anything. And it's funny because I know if the roles were reversed and I told my father that I was going to be teaching my little girl how to change the oil in her car and change her tires, he would be all gung-ho for it. But for some reason, when it's my son learning these things, it's not good. But he gave me a wonderful example. My uncle has always been very, I suppose what one could say, he knows how to do things that would be considered a lady's job, and my father is a very lazy person, and he doesn't know how to do anything. He jokingly says that without my mother, he would starve to death, and a part of me thinks that's actually true, and I think a part of him actually thinks it's true as well. But long story short, the comparison he was trying to get from him and my uncle is that since my uncle has never really depended and needed a lady, that's why his first marriage didn't work, and that's why apparently he's got really crappy relationships with women, because if he doesn't like this lady, then he's like, oh, well, I can make my own food, or oh, I can wash my own clothes. And then there's my father on the other side, because he doesn't know how to do anything for himself. That's why his marriage has lasted so long, because he depends on my mother so much. I'm like, Dad, that's a very terrible comparison. That is the world's worst comparison. I sometimes on occasion will make really bad comparisons to things, and I think I finally realized where that came from. But Raymond went upstairs a long time ago, and I'm gonna let you guys go. That was my salty seconds with Ali Chan. So yeah, just wanna, I wanna be real with you guys and let you know what nonsense I'm going through. But if you guys liked today's vlog, and if you guys liked my shirt on my head, you guys should please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if there's anything your parents or any family members or friends tell you that you think is just ridiculous, whether it be with your children or with just your life in general, or just anything, so that way I don't feel alone. But thank you guys once again for watching, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye.